Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kelsey and this is my YouTube channel where I like to talk about a lot of things, but mostly knitting, crochet, and other craft related activities. In today's video I will be going over with you my finished objects for the next month and a half as we go into the 2025 holiday season, and I will be showing you them as I complete them. So I feel like a lot of people will typically just like gather their finished items together into like a bundle and then show you them one after another. And I don't think that's going to be very doable for me in the way my mind works. So I think the way I'm going to attempt to do these videos on this channel for now is as I complete things and when I have a chance to just sit down, I will just show you the completed objects and then it'll all be like patched together at the end, like to create a finished project. So you'll probably see me in a bunch of different outfits wearing a lot of different things, but hopefully it'll come together into a cohesive project. So first thing, though, the reason I'm filming this clip today is my first holiday finished object for this year, and that is one of the two grow hats I have planned to make. One of them is for me, but this is the one that is for my friend Laura. This is made with salty blonde fibers, perfectly pinkle. I've had this yarn for about a year now to make Laura a hat out of. Laura was the recipient of the first hat I ever made, so it is a little janky, but Laura still wears it, so Laura is very deserving of improved hat. This grow hat, the pattern is by Fiber Tales. The process of making this hat was fairly quick. I started it in mid-October while I was in Arkansas on vacation, but it was never like a main whip. So I basically had like 2 inches of ribbing at the start of this week, and then Wednesday I just like and just cranked this thing out, and now we have a completed hat. I think it looks good. The like cable like lift pattern is almost like a mix of cable and lace, so it's very interesting and not something I've ever done before. The center double decreases I did screw up, and I had to I screwed them up because I was essentially like, for the center double decrease you have to slip 2 and then knit and then pull the 2 you've slipped over the top, but you have to slip them at the same time, and I was slipping them as you would like a SSK, a slip knit. So basically I had the choice of either frogging down to that point or dropping down on each of those stitches. I had 2 center double decreases that 2 rows of center double decreases that I had to go back and fix, and I opted to just drop down because I really just fully hate I cannot stand frogging and like putting things back on the needles. Like, it is genuinely like the thing that would make me stop knitting entirely, is having to put the loops back on the needles. It's just so painful for me and I hate it. So they were looking a little janky, not gonna lie. And when I prior to blocking, honestly this whole hat was looking really janky when I initially blocked it, but I think with the blocking they did kind of even out a little bit. If you look at them closely, they're still a little wobbly, but I don't think Laura will mind. So I'm happy with the hat. I would try it on for you, but I saw on Rachel is Knitting podcast, she talked about how someone trying on a hat before giving it to you was kind of gross, and she was like worried about whether or not people washed the hats before giving them. And that is something that I had never even occurred to me to that people would worry about your head being dirty. Like, I know I don't have lice, so that doesn't gross me out. Like, hair doesn't gross me out, like, period. So I'm gonna refrain from trying this on because apparently that's something people worry about. But that is our first finished object for this video, so I guess I will see you in the next clip. So it's been a couple weeks since we last spoke, and I have finished some other stuff that I'll probably talk to you about in the next clip, but I'm gonna wait till I'm wearing it to fully discuss it. But I'm wrapping some gifts tomorrow, and I wanted to take some time and show them to you before that happens. So the first thing I finish is actually something that I think I'm going to unfinish and actually change something about, and that is the 1983 hat by Maxime Cyr, knit out of Knit Pick Swish. So if you can't see what I dislike about this hat, you honestly probably have pretty bad taste. But the ribbing is a really awkward length. Like, it's not long enough to double fold, but it's also too long, and it really fucks up the proportion of the entire hat. So I'm going to probably do some surgery and take off like an inch of the bottom of this hat to do my best to try and fix it. I've never done this type of surgery before, so I'm a little bit nervous about it, but we will. Honestly, I just don't like it. Like, this is honestly one of the most unhappy I've been with something I've made in a really long time. So it definitely, something needs to be fixed in it. So, and that's where I'm going to start. I'm also not the most happy with how this decrease turned out. Like, that is pissing me off, the way it like concaves in the center, but I don't honestly know why that happened. Me trying to like rip it like it'll tear, but I'm gonna leave that for now and just fix the ribbing part of it and hope that overall just makes the entire experience a little bit better. But that's number one, to start us off on a really negative note. And the second is actually something I ended up being really, really happy with, and that is the Victoria shawl I was working on for my aunt. This is just like a little scarflet made out of Magpie Fibers Swinky Sock and Magpie Fibers Plume, and I really enjoyed working on this pattern. It was a lot of fun. I'm definitely making one of these for myself once the holidays are over. I already know what yarn I'm going to use and everything. It's just so pretty, and it's like so soft and like comfortable, and like it's just perfect. Like, it's the I'm very happy with it, and I'm very excited to send it off to her, because it is a very beautiful object, if I don't say so myself. Then the only other thing really that I've finished is something I don't have anymore, but I'll put a picture in, and that is I made a little teeny tiny sweater out of some sock scraps into an ornament, and I did that for a work Christmas party, which is also why I am currently dressed in Christmas clothes for the work Christmas party. So that was also, I wouldn't say it was fun, but it turned out really cute, and it was an adorable little thing. So I would recommend doing that yourself if you want to make a tiny little sweater ornament. But that's all I have for you in this moment, so I'll see you in the next one. Alright, so probably the largest finished object of this video, not probably, the largest finished object of this video is the one I'm wearing right now. And that is my King Salmon sweater by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knits. This is made using Moda and Junction Fiberworks Making Tracks DK. The Making Tracks is in the colorway Winterberry, but the Moda colorway is a number, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's definitely in my Ravelry description, but I believe it is something like 605. Anyway, so I have finished her. She came out a lot cuter than I thought she would, because you hear so much about the yoke being kind of rough, but it turned out very cute. One thing I didn't really love is that she says to do Jenny's super stretchy bind off on the bottom of the sweater. I don't really think that's a very nice looking bind off, having now done it for the first time. It definitely, like, it's a very wide, like, it doesn't cinch in at all at the bottom, which I don't particularly mind for this sweater. I think it actually, like, is cute, but I do kind of wish I had maybe done a different bind off. I guess I would have done a different bind off if I had the knowledge of what it would look like off of the needles, because sometimes it's hard for me to visualize just how much something is gonna, like, spread out once it's not all cinched together on the cord. But overall, I just love this sweater. I wear it all the time. I love, like, the sort of rusticy wooliness of it. My sleeves are probably a little bit short for most people, but I've decided I actually really like short sleeves, like shorter sweater sleeves, because I don't like it when they get in the way of, like, my hands and things like that. So overall, I'm, like, way happier with this than I ever imagined I could be. So this is, like, a heavy win. Like, this sweater, I can imagine me wearing it all the time to, like, every possible event, every location. I've been finished with this sweater for, like, 2 weeks, and I've already worn it like 5 times. So definitely a win. Around the same time as I finished this sweater, I also finished my own version of the Grow hat. I'm not going to put this one on because I'm going somewhere after this, and I don't really want to deal with, like, recombing my hair to sort of fix that situation. But I'll put in a picture of me wearing both of these together at the Christmas market. This was using Stitch Hiker DK in a one-of-a-kind colorway, and then also some mohair. It's Beaches and Boosh mohair. I believe the colorway is mustard, but yeah, it turned out really cute. A little funny story with this is that I was wearing it to take my dog for a walk, and my mom saw me and she was like, "Oh, I really like the hat, like the color of that hat." And ironically enough, I have more yarn in a pretty similar colorway from the same dyer. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And she was like, "Hey, whatever happened to the yarn we got last year for me?" And I just looked at her, and I was like, "I don't know, Mom, but there's a big ass Christmas tree that might give you a hint about what's happening with that yarn," because it was a ball of yarn I had her pick out so that I can make her hat. And and I'm in the process of making that hat. And it was funny. It's part of my goal to get a hat of, like, every color of the rainbow to wear with every possible outfit combination. Because I always am like, "Oh, I'll just throw on a hat," and then I get pissed off when it doesn't, like, match exactly right to my vision. So this is one of the many hats I will be continuing to make as time progresses. And then the final finished object I have for you in this section is I have finally completed socks. I'm scared to try a smaller size sock, but I'm considering trying a smaller size sock because these look kind of huge, and my socks always end up kind of floppy. Like, they fit, but I'm not the happiest with them as I possibly could be. So maybe I will be discussing with you in a future video my decision to try and make smaller socks. But these are the Cuff Club Volume 2 socks. These are for the month of October. You can't really see the lace on them very well, but I did knit these with the intention that you probably wouldn't see the lace super well, that it would kind of muddy down the whole thing. But this is contributing to my goal of at least, like, to knit at least one of the socks from each month. So this is October's sock pattern. It is completed. Hallelujah. And here, on to the next, I guess. Hello, everybody. Okay. We have made it to Christmas Eve. It is like 10:30 in the morning, and I am happy to report that besides one pair of socks, everything I had planned to get done at the beginning of the month, I have successfully completed. So let's just real quick go through a couple of my finished items and then I will sign off. So first up, we've got the hat I made my mother. So originally I had a different hat pattern in mind. It was from Sari Nordland's book, Softly, Timeless Knits, I believe is the title of it. Was that hat, but as soon as I cast it on, I realized that I did not have the correct I didn't have the correct amount of yarn. So I pivoted and ended up doing the weekend hat. And this hat nearly drove me to fucking drink, guys. It was brutal. Now that I know how the pattern works, I'll probably make it again. But the pattern for this hat was not, I feel like there was maybe a translation error in there somewhere that maybe didn't misled people, people being me in particular. I don't know about other people. So essentially, I'm used to, so essentially there, after you finish like the setup row for the actual hat, there is like a instruction that says you can work from the chart or continue with the written instructions. And when I read that, I read or and think, oh, I can just go to the chart and work the chart all the way around the stitches I have for the hat. Otherwise, it would say and, because I would have to use the written instructions as well. So I did that, and it didn't work. There was extra stitches, there was a mess, and I was so angry, guys. I was like, there are 120 stitches on this hat. 35 is not a multiple of 120. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to make this work. And so when I went to the written instructions, I was still very confused because, like, it didn't, because I had the chart in mind, and on the chart, I'm used to, if there's a section that needs to be repeated multiple times before you continue with the chart, I'm used to that being highlighted as well, that there being like a line that blocks off. So for this hat, there are 4 stitches on each side that don't get repeated each time, that only get repeated 2 times on each like side of the hat. So you can see that there's this ribbing section that goes up the side right here and here. And there's these 2, so there's like 4 stitches on each side that you don't repeat over and over again. But I didn't feel like it was properly shown in the written instruction that that was like a repeated area. And on the chart, it definitely wasn't shown that you didn't do that each mark. So I felt that that section should have been more properly identified as being like, hey, don't repeat these 4 stitches except for on the edge. Eventually I figured it out. Maybe I would have figured it out sooner if I had braked for lunch earlier, but as I was yelling in a voice note to my friend, I had like a brain blast moment and realized what I was doing wrong, and it was bad, guys. I had like a calculator. I was like doing every variation of the ways I can interpret the instructions to get this done. But eventually I figured it out. And I'm happy to report that we have a finished hat that is very cute. Now, secondly, if you'll recall in this video, I had discussed making my dad the 1983 hat and finishing that, and maybe you saw in the tone of my voice and just general attitude that I wasn't particularly happy with the way that turned out. So in panic, about a week and a half ago, maybe, I don't know what day of the week it is. Yes, I do. It's Wednesday because it's Christmas Eve. But I didn't like that hat at all. Like, I just didn't like the way it turned out, and I just felt like it was like, the yarn was just not right. The yarn was not right, and there was no coming back from that. So I pivoted, and I decided to make him another hat. So my dad will get 2 hats this Christmas because I've already made him 1 crochet hat that is fugly. So I couldn't give him 2 ugly hats, guys. I just couldn't. So I made him another one. This is the Diamond Halo hat, I believe is what it's called, by Stephen West. It is it is made out of Wool Dreamers Moda. I don't know the exact colorways. I threw away the labels, but just know I believe the yellow is 605, and then the blue, if you go to the project page for my Breton sweater, it's the same blue I used on that sweater. I'll link that in the description down below. So this, I think this turned out well. My dad doesn't particularly mind a woolly wool, but I'm planning on offering him to put in like a fleece lining if he wants. It's obviously just came off the blocking board, so she is very formed, but over time I do believe it will lose that shape. But yeah, I am so glad I redid it. This hat is much better. Like, it's so cute. I think it turned out really cool. And I think I'll probably make more of these hats in this yarn someday, because it just turned out, dare I say, perfect. It definitely matches the vision I had way back when I crocheted him the original hat a lot more. Maybe I'll see if I can put a picture of that crochet hat up, because I feel like this is like the evolved grown-up version of what I was trying to do with that hat. And I didn't even intend for that to be what happened. I just actually, the reason why I chose this specific pattern was because my dad his family comes from Sweden. They were Swedish immigrants. So his grandma used to make him a bunch of stuff in like Swedish colors, and he mentioned to me a million years ago, back when I was like a kid learning to chain and crochet, that and this was even before, like, I've said before, but I learned to chain and crochet, and that's all I knew how to do. So I just had like hundreds of crochet chains around the house, but I didn't actually know how to do like a second layer. So I didn't actually learn how to do like actual crochet until years later. Anyway, but he mentioned he wanted a yellow and blue hat in Swedish colors. So when I was looking for a pattern at like 11 a.m. on a Friday night, I saw that this pattern had like crosses on it, and I just felt like that motif matched up a little bit more with the Swedish flag. So yeah, that's what I have to say about this. And then the final thing, it's probably the thing that turned out the least good, but I'm just happy to have them done, and I'm realistically, I'll wear these twice a year, so I'm not too upset about it. And I finished these at like 10:45 last night, so I blocked them immediately, so they're still a little damp, though they are a lot drier than I thought they would be. But these are the Trim the Tree socks by Michelle Frasetta, otherwise known as Michi Fraz Knits. Am I showing you the jog side? I don't know. Here they are. These are 100% too big. I have been kind of waffling on whether or not I want to change, if I want to size down, which type of sock I make, because I just feel like my socks always end up really floppy, and I've always kind of like, it's always kind of stressed me out, the idea of doing that, because I did measure exactly for what I should be on Summerlee's size chart, but I've been looking at other sock recipes, and it seems like other people who are not Summerlee do a little bit more negative ease. So I think I'm going, on my next pair of socks, I'm going to actually, I normally do a 72 stitch sock. I'm going to do whatever size is below the 72 stitches. But this definitely solidified it for me, because I was worried about them being too small. They're definitely too big. Before blocking, the way this heel was like so bulbous, it still is a little bit bulbous, like, but the way it was so bulbous from like the cinched and color work was honestly kind of disturbing and hilarious. what can I say besides it's way too big? I feel like my tension was really wonky on these socks. These are the first all over Colorwork socks, so definitely room for improvement on these. But again, for something, I'd rather learn how to do Colorwork socks on something I'm going to wear like twice a year for a specific holiday than like on something that I was planning on wearing all the time. So I actually did a shadow wrap heel for the first time on these socks, and begrudgingly I've really been hesitant to do anything besides a heel flap on and gusset on socks, but begrudgingly I kind of feel like shadow wrap heel might be my default. This is assuming I do them on a better sock that's more the correct gauge, and I actually enjoy the way they fit, but it was really, really fast. The one thing I will say is make sure you have enough time to do them in one sitting, otherwise you will have 3 needles attached to your socks, at least the way I do them, with like 2 Addy flips and then just leave the rest of the stitches on the 9-inch circulars. But and it just was kind of a mess. Like I had to take a break at one point, like to go to sleep, and I had, like, for the first time ever, I just had knitting on, like, on a table. Like, I couldn't put it away. It was just like in the middle of everything. Anyway, so that was my final finished object here for Christmas. They're actually a lot drier than I was worried they would be, like, because it is Christmas Eve and I'm not exactly sure when I want to wear these. But since we're here, when in Rome, let me give you guys some feet pics real quick and we can see how big they actually ended up being. Weaving in the ends on these things was just generally atrocious. So, make sure I'm not showing my entire underwear short situation. Yeah, so look how much we've got on the toe that, I don't even know if you can see this, but there's definitely a lot of extra space. They turned out as good as they could for something I had been doing for the first time. So, that is going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. It's been an interesting experience filming these at different times, so I don't know how the clips are going to end up going together, and if there will be certain things that are said multiple times in this video that end up being repetitive and annoying. If so, suck it up. I don't really like just sitting down to film the videos and like talking at length about each thing. I've literally written scripts to do that and unsuccessfully followed through like multiple times. So I feel like this is at least successful in the fact that I have filmed clips for this video each time. We'll see about how it ends up being pieced together. Hopefully it wasn't too like repetitive and annoying in the things I've been saying. But otherwise, that's gonna be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you again in the future. If you have any questions, concerns, or just want to say something generally nice, you can do so in the comment section down below. Otherwise, please subscribe. Bye-bye.